Assessors to order. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Assessors to order for October 11th, 2023, here at the library room in the Eagle House. Anyone who wants to join us, feel free. I'll read the disclaimer. This meeting will be held in person at this location. Members of the public are welcome to attend in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item in this agenda should make plans for an in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link. I'll give you the link. https://zoom.us/j/76631-67607. Or you can dial in 888-475-499 and enter that same number, 766-316-7607. If you have not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and an email address. No participation ID is needed. Just press the pound sign when asked. Telephone numbers. Users may dial *9 to request to speak after joining the meeting. Computer and app users may use the raise hand feature. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is also being recorded and can be found at the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel, http://www.youtube.com/user/LunenburgAccess/videos within 24 hours of the meeting. And I think that's all I'm going to read for disclaimer, so thank you. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll take attendance. Mr. Rabbit is here. Miss Camera. I had to get the Sarah out of the way because I did Mr. And Mr. LaFont. We're opening for public comments. I'm going to ask people during the public comment session to try to keep their comments to 3 minutes or less. Otherwise, we'll be here for a long time, potentially, or maybe not. So are there any comments from the board?
No. Not right now.
Okay. Any comments from the public? That was way less than 3 minutes. We have old business. We have to approve minutes from prior board meetings. We have a lot of them because there were no board meetings for quite some time, and the meetings were not minutes were not taken at that time. I have minutes. I'm going to go down through the list. And just if anyone has a question or something that they would like to change on that list, we can just say hold. The rest of them we will then vote on en masse. So the minutes from April 25th.
You're okay.
May 4th.
Okay.
May 16th.
Okay.
May 23rd. May 25th. May 30th.
Hold.
June 6th.
Hold. These are minor issues.
It's okay. It's okay. We can fix them.
And we just keep rolling through the same issues. The fact was,
Can we hold off on that discussion until we
it'll save
go
you a
back
whole
to the
pile
whole
of time, or I'll hold them all.
we can hold them all. Or you can just
Okay,
talk
go
about the
ahead,
first
go
one
ahead,
and
go
then say
ahead.
they're the same thing. I just want to get through the list. June 6th, you want to hold that. June 8th, you want to hold.
Pretty much all of them will hold after that.
13th,
Fix, yeah.
that's a hold.
That's all.
15th,
That's a fix, yeah.
okay. 29,
I have a question, so that'll be a hold.
okay. July 18,
Questions?
August 1.
I'll have to
That
hold
would
on that,
be
I guess.
okay.
You want to hold on that? Haven't read it. That's okay, I don't, we just got the package of all of these minutes yesterday, so these are the holds. So I will take a motion that we accept the minutes of April 25, May 4, May 16, May 23, and May 25 of 2023.
I'll second that.
Well, you're going to move it, right?
Oh, you want me to make?
Somebody needs to make the motion.
motion.
I make a motion to
One of
accept
you.
the minutes from 4:25, 5:4, 5:16, 5:23, and 5:25.
And you second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Nice. Okay, let's go back to the holds. Let's start by date.
Okay, here we go. What date are we on now?
So the first one was May 30th. There was a hold on May 30th.
Yeah, did I stick it over here? I'm sorry. Getting messed up. It wasn't a big deal. It's just
okay.
basically, they keep showing up Christine Higdon, and Christine wasn't there.
So all of the minutes where Christine shows up,
And don't include them.
I'm sorry.
Correct it, we gotta get it
Where-
corrected. We gotta
Where is she showing on this one? I don't see it. Is it further down in the body?
See the 16th.
Again?
I have,
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, I
I
know
s-
this. I didn't mean the 16th.
I see it on June 6th.
Yeah,
I don't
It
see,
shows up June 6th.
you put a hold on May 30th. Was there no reason for that?
I put a hold on the May 25.
I don't have that as a whole, but let me check. Okay, so I make a motion to amend the 5:25 minutes to remove Christine Higdon, so we can accept those minutes. Was that the only thing?
That was the only thing, and I was there. And they
Okay.
gave me credit this time.
Wait a minute, I gotta find her.
That's right.
Where is her name? Why is it?
It's like,
Oh, right in the
second
middle,
line.
right dead center
Yeah,
middle. I could have missed it, but I did.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
okay.
And on May 30th.
So that one is,
Okay,
So
sorry.
we had
Move.
accepted that,
so
but
we're
we
gonna,
should amend it,
right. So moved.
yes,
Second? Second?
Second?
yes.
All approved?
Okay, so
Okay, so the 25th is,
we're amending those minutes to remove board member Christine
Christine.
Higdon, because she wasn't a
Thank you.
member anymore.
thank you.
May 30th?
May 30th?
Basically, I would like to have my name included in there. I was there, but it wasn't included.
Okay,
So motion for Jack Rabbit.
are there any others like that? It looks like
As a pile of them,
the June 6th, so should we,
whatever he.
Yep, are there more that are just, that's the only
Yeah.
change?
You gotta, on the 6th, you gotta remove Christine?
Mr. Rabbit, were you on the May 30th meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess we're first, but yes. And remove Christine from
Okay.
June 6th and add myself. See, I even nominated people, so I
So
had to be
that's,
there.
you had to be there, I know.
And you're on June 8th, and you're on June 13th.
But Christine is there as well?
Yeah,
Yes.
so we have to remove Chris.
Yeah, and you gotta add, yeah, I'm there, okay.
Mr. Rabbit, were
So-
you at
so let's-
the, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Let's kind of do them one at a time now, because otherwise it's just gonna become a
Confusing.
huge mess. So we have the minutes of, first one was May 30th, which was, the only change was to add Mr. Rabbit as a member.
So,
Yes.
do you need a motion for that? I have a motion to add Mr. Rabbit as a member to the May 30th meeting.
Second?
We all approve?
Approved?
We approve the minutes in their in totality now?
Okay.
June 6th, that was the add Jack, Mr. Rabbit, and remove Ms. Higdon.
Yes.
Make a motion to add Mr. Rabbit and remove Ms.
Second.
Higdon.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, were there any other changes before I asked for the
Yeah,
vote?
go ahead.
believe we're up to June 8th.
right?
Yes, we are.
Remove
Christine.
and, oh, you're already on that one.
I'm there on that one.
So
So-
I make a motion to remove Christine Higdon from the minutes of June 8th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You got the implication that I said any other changes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to remove Ms. Higdon from the June 13th meeting.
Second?
No other changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
A little cut and paste, huh?
Mhm.
Are we up to June 15th, I hope?
We are.
Yes.
Okay.
And wanted to note that I was a member there. I even had a chance to thank Rich from the rest of the board for his
I
continued
motion
work.
we
So,
add Mr. Rabbit to the meeting of June 15th.
second?
Any other changes?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
This one looks right. June 29th.
June 29th.
Were there any other?
He had a hold with some questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right, Mr. Rabbit?
Yes. Yeah.
But the attendees are correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on from that.
That part is clean. Card needs to be fixed. Okay, now that was my note to myself. Attorney expressed concern, questions are rarely answered. The form turned off the start of the meeting. I'm sorry, there's a few comments there. Better roll, only consider suggestions. I won't do that. I'm not gonna seek any changes on that. These are just comments to myself, or I'm trying to clean up.
Okay,
I don't want anything, yeah.
so I will accept the motion. Go ahead.
Second?
Make a motion to
Okay.
approve the minutes of June 29th. Second.
Okay,
Okay. Aye.
thank you. Aye. You're really glad when this is all done.
Yeah.
The minutes of July 18th, I think, are next.
I don't think, have you read it, Sarah?
I read that one.
Yeah.
I haven't yet read the first. Sorry.
August 1st, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, of August.
Did you have any?
I just had
Questions or
some
comments?
questions, but it's more like sales verification forms are going to be sent to everyone who bought the property for 2022. Since that Target Arena, Swayze anticipates all forms mailed out by the middle of September. And my question is, were they? I suspect they were, but
Oh, well, that's not a question for
that's
these
not
minutes.
not in the
That's not
minutes.
for the minutes.
This is my question.
So I
to
will
me.
accept the motion.
Can I make a motion to approve the minutes of July
Thank you.
18th?
Second?
Any further changes?
August.
Oh, no, to this date,
Oh, no.
July 18th. All in favor?
Aye. If you give me a minute, I'll
I
finish
will-
reading August 1st.
And while,
I will do so.
Mr. Chairman, while we're at it, I would like to personally thank Daniel Marr for doing all this. This is
Danielle?
Danielle?
I think it's Danielle.
Danielle?
This is a lot.
Good work. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's a good grade in terms of minute quality. So, yeah.
Nice. You need to get your face in front of the camera more, otherwise,
Me?
well, you were left off.
No, I think somebody just decided to remove me.
It's the voters'
I'm only
decision.
being fun. Yeah, I know. It's coming soon, I'm
It's the
sure. Please. This is,
Okay. That holds with what I saw. So I make a motion to accept the minutes of August 1st.
I'd like to make a couple comments there. John Rabbit nominated Kevin Fish as vice chairman, but Kevin Fish declined and agreed to be secretary. John also nominated Kevin to the clerk position. I didn't.
Oh, at that point.
Yeah, at that point. And then I nominated myself, or somebody nominated me to be the vice chair. It's the last thing I wanted to do.
Should we
but-
amend the minutes to say you were nominated for vice chair?
Eventually, yes, because I tried to nominate Kevin first, and he didn't want anything to do with it either.
So just fixing the words here, I think we can say John Rabbit also nominates Kevin Fish for the clerk position.
Yes,
So we can make that as just an amendment,
right.
and then you want to add some verbiage?
If you,
I think it makes
you can
sense.
say that, that I was then nominated for vice chair, and we were all approved.
And who nominated you, do you recall?
Me. That way, there's nobody to argue.
I don't recall.
Yeah.
Watching it on TV, it's like,
Yeah.
and you were unanimous. Okay,
Okay, so I make a motion to amend the minutes to say, John Rabbit also nominates Kevin Fish to vice chair. It was declined. John Rabbit nominated himself for vice chair. It was unanimously accepted. Is that correct?
I think after the declined, John Rabbit then nominated Kevin Fish to the clerk position.
Okay. So John Rabbit then nominated Kevin Fish to the clerk position?
Yep,
And, oh my God. Yeah.
I know, I'm
Somebody
gonna have
else
to
make
read
that.
it again.
Somebody else read it. Mr. Rabbit, would you like to read?
Second.
Would you like to read what they should say? Because I'm
So-
confused now.
Oh, okay, so.
They'll catch it in the minutes, so let me read it this way.
Yeah.
John Rabbit nominated Kevin Fish as vice chairman, but Kevin Fish declined and agreed to be secretary, which is indeed the clerk.
Oh,
John Rabbit then nominated Kevin Fish for the clerk position, which was unanimously
Unanimously
accepted.
accepted.
Okay, thank you. John Rabbit then nominated himself as vice chair, which was again unanimously
Unanimously accepted.
accepted. That's what we're going to add to that first paragraph under member comment.
Okay, I make a motion to amend the minutes as just read.
Thank you.
I second.
Okay, any further changes? And the rest of this, it's a couple pages, nothing else? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
It's done.
Was that no more changes?
No more changes.
Oh, was that no more changes, or were you gonna make a change to this?
No,
one?
I'm all set.
Okay,
So,
so that's you made the motion.
to accept the minutes as
Okay,
revised.
I just wanted to make sure there were no changes. So we can all agree that these are the new minutes, thank you.
Yes, okay.
Unanimous.
you.
Unanimously.
Wow.
I can't wait for those to be posted.
Wow.
On our webpage.
Okay, we do not as yet have minutes for our meeting of September 27th. I expect that those will be added to the list probably by the next meeting.
So,
Old business. We need to review and approve expense vouchers and payroll.
you have it?
I do.
All right.
And payroll is timesheets. I'm sorry, I've got them out of order.
Oh, no.
We would not want that to happen.
I gotta start bringing a pen and pencil.
We have a copy of an expense voucher for dates 9/12 through 10/4. It's basically almost all mileage
Okay.
that the interim lead assessor claims. It appears this only needs one signature. I don't know that the whole board needs to sign it.
It just seems like everybody signed everything. And
Okay,
so
then let's just do
go
that.
Everybody just signs
So,
everything, and you'll be
It's
never
for $46.45.
big money. Yeah.
Anybody want to, I guess we have to do a motion, I guess.
A motion to accept the mileage expense report for our interim assessor.
Honestly, we never did
I don't know about the,
the protocol to accept each one individually.
well,
What do the selectmen do?
They just sort of blanket accept them, it's my recollection.
Yeah, and if they had any
That makes
questions, they
sense.
held it for a second.
okay.
Yeah.
So all in favor?
For that one, yeah.
Okay, let's just, here, I'll let you sign the first one, and I'll sign the second one, and you sign the third one. That'll get us through the
Sign here. Anywhere would be good.
expense vouchers. Well, I think we're just gonna stack ourselves up there.
Yeah.
We have, since the timesheets are submitted bi-weekly, we have 4 here, 2 for the administration, admin person, or the assessing assistant, and the principal assessor. So I think we don't even need a motion for this, do we?
No, there's nothing on it.
There's nothing on it, so
that's
I
what-
don't
that's- Why are
understand
we
that.
It doesn't
signing it?
make sense, sorry.
I don't understand
It
signing
seems
a
to be the
blank
process,
timesheet.
I'm sure we need to get a clarification on the process, but in order to not hold up anybody's paycheck,
Yeah, I don't wanna do that
I
either.
think we should sign it and just get a
Yeah.
clarification at a later date, if that's okay.
It's
You can
okay,
make
but
one
it's
time.
bizarre.
It is odd, it is very odd, so, here, everybody can have one and
We can all sign
pick
it.
a place to sign, and, oh, that's it.
I
This
brought a
should be-
pencil. Is there a pen I can borrow?
Yes.
That's a red pen, you know that.
No, it's not. No,
The
it's
what?
not.
I'm only kidding.
It's
I'm
not a
only
red
kidding. I'm
pen.
only playing like,
People don't creative at pens.
should be here. Pass it over. Okay.
There should be.
I was gonna pass it
Oh,
all
how come
over.
there's only 3?
Okay, so there's a signature here
That's, I believe,
and
hers.
signature here. Oh, it's
Oh,
the
I
same
don't
one.
know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just the wrong spot.
Down
To
to
you.
there. Did you get yours?
I didn't get this one. Oh,
Try
here.
this one. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do the top one.
Oh, just
Is
this
it-
one.
You didn't do the
Principal
top one.
assessor. She's got
Well, I'm not the principal assessor.
No, you didn't sign
We
the
can
top
sign
one.
down. Here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just sign
It's
everything.
okay. There's
What
3
else
on
is
there.
Okay, there's only 2 on this one. Who's holding up?
Me.
Okay.
Mhm.
This one is also done. I think I need to sign that one.
You gotta sign it.
Okay. There we go.
Oh,
That's this one. That's the one you need to sign. Sorry.
Take that away from me. Sorry, I didn't get this one either. All right, we have signatures on all the things we were supposed to sign today. The next item is the status report from the interim principal assessor. She was going to try to join us.
Oh, is that her?
I don't think so. She was going to try to join us, so I'm going to hold off on that one until she does.
Get
So,
her. So she gets
Yep.
her. She's coming tonight though, right?
she said she would be able to be here probably 7:15.
Okay.
So we're moving on to new business, holding the principal assessor's report. I hit the thing, I'm sorry. We need to talk about a regular meeting schedule and next meeting dates. So I spent a good deal of time trying to coordinate with both Public Access TV and Zoom on what availability we might be able to have. Because we all, I think, want to have as much transparency as possible. Having said that, I was able to land on dates of the first and third Mondays each month
Okay.
through the end of December. Zoom couldn't extend us beyond that, but I think they will be able to at some point.
I see.
And we may revisit at that point too, who knows? I mean, as far as how frequently we meet. So I believe that if you guys can confirm that you both have availability on Monday evenings
I do. At 6:30.
at,
That's fine.
you want, 6:30? 6:30 or
Yeah.
6:45 or 7?
So 6:30 is fine on Mondays. It's not on Wednesdays.
Oh, okay.
6:30 work for you? So Zoom is only in half-hour increments, so that is already set up for 6:30. If Public Access TV is available at 6:30 on Mondays,
I'll have to get someone assigned
Okay.
to those days. I haven't done that yet.
that's okay.
Yeah.
It's because we were still tentative.
Yeah.
But okay, so you think you'll be able to do that?
I should be able
Well,
If not, I could also do 7
We'll-
on Mondays.
We'll confirm, but right now, we'll tentatively set up the meetings for November, December, weeks 1 and 3 on Monday.
So that would be the 6th and the 20th of
20th.
November.
Or we could still try and squeeze another one this month, you know.
And then it would be
No, we won't. I won't do
the
that.
4th and the 18th of December.
Those sound like the right days.
Okay, Mondays, 1st and
And then-
3rd.
We'll revisit for Zoom in January.
Well, as soon as we know we can look at the Zoom, and we also may need to or want to revisit whether we do it twice a month or just go back to monthly,
Okay.
which was the historical pattern. So yeah, that works.
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion on that. It's just, that's when we'll schedule them.
Sounds good.
Great. There was, the next item on the new business was the community meeting to update the public on the Q3 and Q4 property tax bills. We know there are going to be a lot of changes. The tax bills for Q3 will be estimated, Q4 will be actual, so there'll be some netting out. And don't know if that means that people will be paying more or less, probably, possibly less, but who knows? And that's not a promise. It could be more or less. We want to make sure that there's a clear communication included in the Q3 tax bills. I believe that Heather the town manager was planning to put an insert into the tax bills so that everyone gets the same information.
Yeah.
We need to work with her on what exactly is in that insert. There'll be, I don't know, who would like to spend some time working with the town manager on that, or who has the time? I'm certainly willing to do it.
The town manager's putting that in, or?
She had already planned to do something, so we'll work with her and just make sure that there's, so the tax bills don't come out from us.
So is the goal for,
They come out from
sorry.
the treasurer.
Treasurer.
So is the goal for a member to work
Just
with the town manager to get a draft and then bring it before
And
this board?
she may indeed already have a draft. I don't know that. I just heard the second or third hand. But if that is the case, I'd rather build on the work that's already done than redo work.
Do it, yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
thought.
Can I complicate things a little bit, Mr. Chairman?
Well, yeah, well,
I'm not.
do we not want to do that, or want to hold off on that part of the discussion? and go
Well,
back to
I just,
something else?
this would be consistent with the discussion and the string that's going along with regard to who signs what. Basically, the assessors are the chief revenue officers for the city and towns. That's us, no matter what. And we're assesses tax. Our role is to, in revenue collection from your town, is to assess taxes for owners of real personal property, excise, and commit special assessments and betterments. We are kind of responsible for doing community outreach and notification in that area.
Well, the tax bill is going to come from the treasurer, not from us. So
Right.
it,
I don't see a
It's
problem with
up
both of
to-
us signing it, all of you signing it and the other folks signing it. And reinforcing that
me, but-
relationship.
um,
But that's,
so what are you suggesting?
well, I'm suggesting that you
different.
both work on it together. And because ultimately we're responsible for the numbers that get there.
When you say you, do you mean me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, sometimes
I'm
pronouns.
not doing that anymore.
Sometimes pronouns send you off in the wrong direction.
Okay.
So that's fine. I'd be happy to, if that's how.
Yeah,
The board would really like to have a signature of someone from the Board of Assessors on the
yes.
insert for the tax bill.
Okay, if I could make
Is
a
that what you
motion.
said?
Yes, if I
Okay.
could make a motion that we request that we have our chairman of the assessors sign, along with whoever anybody else signs, but again, reinforces the relationship with the community, that the buck stops kind of on your desk, and they can throw rocks at your house.
Our desk.
That's a motion?
Sarah, do you have a thought on that?
I think if we're gonna have it, and we're gonna be collaborating on it, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't also co-sign.
So I would concur.
Yeah.
So your motion's on the table, you've seconded?
Seconded.
So any further discussion on co-signing the insert for the Q3 bill?
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there's any pushback from anywhere else, I'll immediately let the committee know.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good, actually, that's,
Do we have a tentative date for when the Q3 is going out?
we can ask that of Rena.
Yeah.
I would quote something, but I'd probably be wrong.
I was just thinking.
We do not want to propagate wrong.
Exactly. I was just thinking we should work backwards for when we need to collaborate with the town manager for that and when we would need to sign for that.
Yes,
Mhm.
and in fact, whatever the collaboration is, I'll make sure that a copy comes here so that we all get to see it before it goes out.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, perhaps we make a note, and once Rena gets here to confirm it, but we have to, as soon as the preliminary tax bill is approved, we have to go to the town and let everyone know that this is what the bill's gonna look like. And we have to do that within 5 days of receiving preliminary approval. We won't receive preliminary approval until the vision folks submit that information, and right now it's somewhere in February.
So,
And I'm wondering if we want to put
excuse
some,
me, you were talking about the Q4 bill, not the Q3 bill. You said
well,
Q3 bill.
if it's going out with Q3, people ask what's going to happen on Q4. And I think if you give them a little bit of an agenda and saying, hey, the way this project's moving along, this looks like the general date.
Oh,
The general date, we will be able to send you the big bill,
would expect that we'd want to include that in
Yeah.
whatever the communication was.
right?
And
So-
I do recall, and maybe I'm recalling incorrectly, but I remember Rena saying that we would start to see what things look like around December.
Mhm.
And then we would start to know more in January.
Yeah,
And, right,
right.
Yeah.
but we'll let her give us
Yeah.
the exact dates. I
Of
believe that
course.
was what I recall too, but,
Okay. Yes.
so that's good. That's good, that's good, I think.
Yeah, so we'll know a little bit more, but we want to give them a date, that's all.
Yep.
In terms of a community meeting that I see on here that we wanted to talk about, are we thinking that community meeting will be on one of those Mondays that we have?
So I believe that the genesis of this was when Mr. Rabbit had a suggestion that we
Okay.
actually do some outreach to the senior center and potentially to veterans.
That was a little bit of a different topic, right?
It's not still on communication, I don't know.
Yeah,
Did I
it
miss
is.
it?
on
Okay,
the
it's fine.
Q3 and
Okay.
Q4 bills?
Are we done with the, oh, we're not done with the insert? Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was looking at this and I think maybe I'm misunderstanding what our topic is. I have first community meeting and then underneath in the subhead is the Q3
yeah,
bills.
Poorly
So I was
written,
wondering if they were supposed to be together,
poorly written,
because I was thinking of that as a
my fault,
subcategory.
poorly written.
It's not your
Not
fault.
to worry. God,
We just
Brian,
kinda-
you're too
My
tough. You're too tough on yourself.
Yeah, I wrote it,
So that's why I brought up the community meeting, because
right,
yeah,
right.
okay, sorry.
I was having trouble with the bullets too, that was it. Sorry.
So, yeah, I do think we should have an insert. I think, that we should approve it together, but I guess we need to nominate someone to work on it with our town manager. And I'm happy to have anyone do that.
But not you? You have,
Well,
your days are full, I know
I'm
that.
happy to do it, but it'll be by email only.
Right.
And so
It's a little
if
more
someone
difficult.
if someone actually needs to go
And-
into the office, I cannot commit to that.
Mr. Rabbit, I think during his discussion suggested that perhaps I do it,
I think that's exactly
so that's
correct.
okay. If
I
that-
nominate you to do that job.
Then,
I second that one. I said, all those in favor? Sorry, just you and I raise a hand.
just two hands going up, yeah. We're unanimous.
Okay,
Well,
you're
thank you for
going
that.
in. You're going in.
It's okay.
Is there anything else we needed to do on that?
On the inserts,
Yeah.
I think we're all set for
Okay.
now.
Mhm.
The second thing was to, some kind of outreach program.
If I could bring you
Please.
up to where, this has been something that is going on. It became very apparent that there was an opportunity to help, not just send tax bills out, there was an opportunity to help. and that we could bring information to folks. In fact, here's my co-conspirator. With regard to helping the seniors, there's a lot of things that are happening, or we could push the town in a direction of trying to help. Rena, you're over here, huh?
She can be over there, doesn't
She's
matter.
okay.
One end or the other.
Well, she's hiding that way. You got to tilt the camera then.
We could turn the camera a little bit. Could you rotate that computer just a
Just a touch.
hair?
Keep going. There you go. Oh,
Fabulous.
there we are. There
Thank
we are. Okay. So,
Wow. And a camera person.
and we realize that there's all sorts of different ways of helping folks from the tax perspective. And then Rena and I get talking in terms of how do we get the town to like us again? Remember that? Because we wanted to do that. And next thing you know, we get talking, and maybe we can do it on the seniors. And then you had a package that you've presented on to senior in terms of taxes and some sort of tax help. And he said, okay, that's great. And then we shared that with Michael Ray, and he said, hey, let's get the veterans, if we can have the veterans person come in. And then there's the other lake groups and just other folks that would be interested in hearing what the town's planning in terms of financials, but how we can help them, and how there are pieces that we can cause a delay with regard to if there's an increase, we put part of it aside and only tax them for the part, and that side we're holding off, we charge them interest rate. There's all sorts of options out there. And it's, what is it, 42 and a half? Rena, is it 42A and a half or something like that?
41C.
41C, there's a half one though, there's another one.
And then there's 17D.
D, and then there's another one after that. So anyway, there's options there, and if it's okay with this board, I would love to work with Rena on developing that outreach piece, if that's okay, because I really, my heart's in helping our seniors as much as we can.
Yes. Go ahead,
And she's my
Sarah, if you have anything. Or Rena, if you have anything.
I'm not opposed to outreach, I'm wondering how much time,
I'm only
We're
23
thinking
hours
of-
a week.
She's 20.
we're
Well,
thinking of
so-
committing.
So, okay,
Yeah.
I'm also going to refer, let me tell you
Can I
I
how
think it's
for,
important to.
Okay.
I was, so most of the, as I understand, most of the information is already prepared or developed for the seniors. And it's
Yes.
not completely done, but much of it is done. So I don't think there's a lot of work in preparation. And
We do have packets all made up with the sheets,
Okay.
all the
So
qualifications.
the
and
time
stuff.
commitment to the seniors would only be whatever time is, whatever time we need to finish up those packets and whatever time we need to be here at the senior center presenting. My guess is that's a 2-hour maybe.
Mr. Chairman.
And it might be a little longer, but I don't know. So, okay, so go ahead.
Okay, just to add a little more detail to it, I had also had a chance to talk to Representative Margaret Scarsdale. She's very interested. She has some things cooking too, as well as Lou Franco has some stuff that he's been working with to help the seniors. So there might be a little bit of collaboration that needs to go on to make this one big flowing thing. And for that matter, we might come out of it, we're saying, we may be asking the town to do some voting with regard to raising some of the limits on how much they can earn to get some help.
You have to do that at the Springtown meeting.
Right. So we don't understand all the details yet, and we want to hear what those folks are thinking, and I'm more than happy to, and Rena's got her packages, and I think we can meld them up. And remember, I'm retired
I get it.
until Jane gets all of this. You're not watching, I hope. And so anyway,
So we're really talking about, I think, two things. One is a longer term, let's get something ready for potentially bringing to town meeting for a vote of some changes. What I'm really envisioning here is an outreach of what you have available to you today.
sure.
So we don't get ourselves all bogged down in the trying to get to the future. Let's make sure people know where we are currently. So I think that's admirable, and I think it's a great idea. I think we want to keep them sort of separate. As far as the outreach to the seniors around what they have available to them from the assessor's office, let's say, that's something we could do right now, or we can wait a month or two before we get a chance to get all these people together. So I'm a little concerned about that.
if with regard to attacking a project like this or a strategy like this, before you go and jump out and do one thing, why wouldn't you spend a little bit of time investigating what the whole picture could look like, and then you come back and share that with the other groups in terms of your next round. We're going to be working on this stuff for you, but let's get a picture of kind of a vision of what this can turn into over a year or something, not something immediate. And I prefer just see us have a more of a long-term plan around some sort of vision, and we can put, your vision carries you. You have mission statements and missions, and there could be 2 separate missions and strategies along that.
So-
But let's build a
Caution,
vision.
this is not a business, so let's make sure we
It's
talk in terms that a town, a municipality can deal with. Having said that, I'm really concerned that this is just going to potentially turn into something that is much larger, which is fine, except that then precludes us from being able to do the thing we need to do today. So I want you to do the work that you're talking about. I just don't want to stop the work that we need to do today. So, I don't know, Sarah, do you have an opinion?
I do have an opinion, and I have generally also big plans, and I think the bigger plan is to have what you mentioned, where you're looking at the limits and increasing those as has been discussed. But I think that is going to take time to develop. It's going to take, I think, more than 6 months probably to go through. I think it's probably something that can be discussed after we get through this tax season. Not to sideline it, we can certainly talk about it as we go, but it should be something we discuss and develop as the other stuff is really getting done, because that is what has to be done for the tax season. And so I think even though it's less than what everyone wants to do, that we should do that 2 hours stuff of what's there, because that is something we can immediately deliver to seniors. And it will benefit them, and it will help them, and then we keep that long-term goal in mind and keep working towards it in chunks. And I think you have an idea for that, and I would love to see the parts of it broken down so we can think about how to work towards implementing it while we progress with everything else.
Right. I wasn't anticipating that to put together the picture of what is possible, taking all that long. Execution is a whole different animal, and especially if we're going to be trying to capture some voting in the spring of the town meeting. Well, that's a big jump. But to come back and say, okay, phase 1, Rena's going to get out there and do some selling, and for that maybe Representative Scarsdale is going to get up there and talk about the things that she's got in the pipe and what she could use some help with. I mean, let's.
So I think Rena has stuff that you can definitely talk about already, that packet that you're putting
The
together.
qualifications. And the other thing you've got to be careful is the timing, because right now we're done with the senior exemptions.
Right.
When you sign off, they'll go on the January tax bill. So then your new year starts January 1st, and then you're into fiscal 25. So they have until from January 1st until April 1st to get their exemptions in. So that's the time frame.
And
So you want,
And if we're going to
So there
push,
has to have.
I'm sorry, Mr.
no,
Chairman.
go ahead.
If we're going to push them, then that's great. We just have to recognize and get the warrants ready and things like that to go to town meeting to get those limits increased. And so I'm all sure, let's do this, but let's have the vision that we're going to raise this, because very quickly people are going to discuss why we can't get it raised. And if it's in our plan package, well then that'll satisfy them. But at the same time, the numbers that the state, you got to be basically in poverty and own a house. I don't know that's possible to qualify for
And
most of the
there's one
stuff.
thing you gotta be careful of. I've always been told, because we used to take this to town meeting every year.
You had to.
Because in Groton, we doubled all the exemptions. And I was told if you double it for one group, you have to double it for everybody. So that means your veterans get doubled, your blind get doubled, your seniors get doubled.
Yeah.
So that you have to think about, because that's a lot of money.
Mhm.
That's gonna come up, that's why it has to be voted in town.
Right, some of it
Right.
comes out of the state too.
Very, very little.
I bet.
The
Really?
reimbursement
It's terrible.
is minimal.
So,
There's prep that goes into that. We have to think about how it affects the budget and stuff like that, and be able to answer the town about that. So that's a significant, to me, that's a significant ask, because we're gonna have to have our town manager weigh in, our accountants weigh in, our real estate
Right.
people, our other assessors, our external people to
And
weigh
right
in.
now, we don't have a finance director or a town accountant.
well,
And I,
details.
Just so we're on the side.
I really feel it's important to do.
Oh, I agree with the analysis, but we also have to remember that a third of the population of Lunenburg is 60 years older, 60 years and older. And there's what I personally experienced when we had the tax problem was that these folks got hit real hard and they're fixed income, but it doesn't mean that they're not get in trouble because the fixed income side doesn't keep up with the inflation side. And by the way, the town doesn't lose any money, Sarah, in the strategy. They essentially, they basically pay their share and take a note out against the town for the other piece of that, against, I believe, an 8% interest rate. So there's,
So that-
You don't have to convince me.
oh, I know, I'm just saying, we're
It's
gonna lay it out, we gotta lay it out.
And you're going down a path where we're discussing a lot of stuff we don't need to get to yet.
I
So
agree.
you're right, there are lots of options. We
Right.
need to explore all those options. I think it'd be a great idea if we could bring this to town meeting in the spring.
Yeah,
Now, recognize that's not really going to affect anything until we get to the next fiscal year because the law has to be passed. The bylaw would have to be passed. So let's take care of what we
I
can take care of
agree.
right now.
there's a motion on the
and-
floor
and-
that allows
Go ahead.
myself to work with Rena to start developing something around the
Correct.
guidance that you provided.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Correct.
Sarah, would that be okay?
Yeah, I'm for that.
That's it.
I
Right.
think we're,
Okay, so
Ready
all
to
in
vote
favor?
on that?
All in favor?
Yeah.
Rena didn't
Right.
get a vote.
Perfect.
So we are voting to do the outreach related to what you already have developed,
Right,
right?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
I hope.
I'm sorry, that's not what he said.
Okay.
But we're voting
What,
to
Let's
begin the
specify this a
development,
little bit
Rena
more.
and I to begin the development of a plan. I'd love to see what, Rena, what you've got for your packages and come in, and let's see what other pieces we could pull together and what some of the options are. I've already done a lot of this stuff, Brian. Rena and I have been
Talk to
talking
me,
about
talk to them.
Okay, hi folks. We've already done a lot. Rena and I had a great time. And by the way, it was Rena's idea to bring the package in and say, this is how we can help. So, good job.
So I want to make sure that doesn't get sidetracked as we look to the future. So,
I promise it won't.
so
I
we had
guess-
to, go ahead.
sorry, I guess before I commit to that, I'm wondering how many hours a week you intend to be able to devote to that.
Well, right now, working on, I'm working beyond my hours. I can only work 6 hours a day. And then, I'm working beyond that, but I'm working for the contractor, Nate, MFS.
Okay.
Right.
So, but my hours, and for him, it's doing things like inspections
Mhm.
and doing the building permits.
Mhm.
Anything in the office is on the town time, all of the
Yeah.
things I have to do in-house. And that's only 6 hours a day, 5 on Thursdays. I can only work 23 hours.
Right.
Just to, we've talked. We're
I
not
was just going to say,
notified-
I think the question was really how much time do you think you can dedicate to this activity?
Yeah.
Just to
Okay,
get a
sure.
clarification.
I'm sure I can find an hour someplace during the week to throw some stuff
Mhm.
together.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
So,
And
an hour a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Rena. Hey, and just to point out, we're not, because of the relationship where Rena is working extra hours, it's covered, we're not doing anything illegal
No.
with regard to your retirement program or
Oh,
anything
no,
like that.
no, no.
No,
She's-
we're
we
don't
totally
need to go
above
down that.
board on that.
Because I'm working for a private contractor.
Right.
Okay. So I would be fine with that at the hour a week she can.
So we talked about doing something, an hour a week on that, but we also talked about doing the seniors. We're gonna do the senior outreach thing. And that's some time, not how much time, but a
Yeah.
couple hours.
Yeah.
We have other groups that we need to reach out to, and I don't know how much time we have for that, and how much do we already have prepared for that. Veterans, do we have anything that we could bring to the veterans?
We have, if I could.
Well, I'm asking Rena right
Okay.
now, but you
Okay, I'm
certainly
just saying that
jump
I'm
in.
we're working this.
Veterans, it's not just because you're a veteran.
Right,
You have to have a service-connected disability.
Okay.
So in order to get the exemption, you have to come in with your, all your papers showing what your exemption is, the percentage. Because from 10 to 90, it's like a $400 exemption.
Yep.
At 100%, it's total.
Okay.
But you have to be almost totally disabled.
so my question was more, what do you have
There's
currently
not much
prepared,
on
or
that
is there
because-
anything that need to be prepared?
Yeah, not really, because that is mostly,
Okay,
Mr.
so,
Chairman.
sorry, I didn't mean to
Okay.
cut you off either,
No, that's
but I just
all
wanted
right,
to
that's
finish
all
the thought.
qualifications for that is from the
Pretty
state.
clear and, yeah,
Right,
You have to have a
We-
service-connected disability.
right.
thank you.
We also had discussions with regard to bringing the Veterans Administration Officer, the town. We have a Veterans Admin person here who could add some information potentially. We don't know what it is, to bring them in and make the connection. We're also trying to, with another strategy here, is that try to create make the senior center, this thing, as much a hub as we can for information. And we can feed our information in through this hub, we can bring other things into it, and we can cheer it along. And where we do have some influence with regard to the pocketbook side of it, we could have people will come here even more than what they did today. Today was a great day for the senior center, it really was. So I think that, and we've shared this with Sue, and she's all excited about the possibility, and so that's where that play is going. And Lou is feeling the same way, as well as Michael.
So, okay, so as far as anything for the veterans, we have some information, and we have a methodology to reach out to the veterans agent.
Agent.
Oh, I could think of it. I beat you to it. By about that
Well, you
much.
just took the test.
Oh, that's true.
I did too.
No, well, some of the tests, we'll see. I also wondered if there was some interest in reaching out to some of the lake groups. I know some lake groups are more organized than others, but it might make sense for us to reach out to the lake groups. I don't know if there's any interest in doing that. I don't know if there's any appetite for that, or not. And I just threw it out there as something for us to talk about.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we want to do when we have our preliminary evaluations prior to them getting certified, when the preliminary, so people can know what's coming. And it's,
That's a good suggestion.
yeah,
You have, is it,
Well, I think we have an opportunity to test the waters. How could we be better, speaking to these
public?
public here, how could we be better at communicating, and how could we reach out to help heal this rift and help them understand what we're trying to do? How could we do that? Is there a better way?
so I'll open it to public comment for a moment. And we put you on the spot, so I'll hold it until we do public comment later on. Is that okay? Give you a chance to think about it. Is that all right?
Yeah, oh, that's
Mr. Rabbit?
perfect.
Okay, good.
You can never go wrong.
And by the way, you said you want people to like us. No, we want people to trust us. We don't care if they like us.
I go the other way. First they get to know you, then they get to trust
you
you,
know-
then they fall in love with you. Yeah, it's that kind of.
Were there any other groups, identifiable groups, that we would like to do some kind of outreach to?
well, we were just saying, we were hoping that the new website will be able to put a lot
We will
on.
talk about that too.
Yeah, we are.
I suspect that there may be somebody here that wants to talk about the website.
It's got to be you, Rena, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, and we are talking about sort of communications, I guess. Actually, that,
Do you wanna go
I
back
don't know why
to the
that said
dates
community.
and
Oh, yes.
the assessors?
One of the things that came up was, do we have dates on when we expect things to be progressing for the Q3 and Q4 bills?
The Q3 bills are gonna go out, I believe they go out by November? No,
No.
no.
It's before the first of the year.
In the past, they've gone out just before January 1st, right?
Right.
I thought we got a delay this year because,
Our fourth quarter bills are gonna be going out in February.
that's third quarter.
The actual bill will be going out in February,
That's,
fourth quarter.
We won't be done, we won't
that's
have.
third quarter. Fourth quarter would be go out in March.
May,
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
May.
for May.
No,
Third quarter.
we usually get them out in
Your third
January
quarter-
1st.
Then your
February,
third quarter
March.
is gonna be
April.
going out February 1st.
Third quarter is February 1st. Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
I'm not sure about this because we're doing for the first time estimated
Correct.
bills, so,
So we need to get a confirmation of what the date is we expect, okay? Because we were quoting dates too, and we was like, I'm
We're
not
not sure.
absolutely sure.
Yeah.
So
in
rather than put you on the spot right now, if you could just find out for us what the dates are, because we were trying to make sure that when we do the insert into the tax bill,
yeah, that's,
that number one, we know what to tell people they're looking forward to, and when we had to have it already. So those are
Right.
sort of key.
Hey, Rena-
Was there something else I forgot there?
No, but I just
Okay.
bouncing something off Rena, and I'm going over the project schedule based on what Vision has put together for us. And they're not looking at having the Department of Revenue preliminary review, that's not the final, until either February 1st through the 21st. And we know we're a little bit weak, but then we have to send out or notify everybody that this is a preliminary, and they have a period of time, and then we send out the bill. So that pushes us out into March sometime.
I really don't think that's gonna go that late, but
Yeah, I'm just using
I
their
think they
schedules
just,
and
you know-
charting stuff out. It says,
They're
ugh.
not- they're making sure it
Right.
can be delivered.
Yeah.
right.
So, yeah, if we could just get confirmation of the dates that we
Yeah.
expect,
Mhm.
we can expect.
So, Rena, after
I'll
we
check with Marlene about that.
after we get the preliminary cert from the DOR, we have,
About, it's usually about 3 to 4 weeks before you get your final certification.
right,
But it might be quicker now, because most communities now are
yeah,
in their preliminary right now certification.
Right.
And they're expecting final certification in November,
Mhm.
so they can send their bills out in December.
right. So the question I have is that basically we have to get it out 5 business days before the billing gets out, before the billing hits, right? And they're allowing, if I read this right, all communities are required to undertake a public disclosure program of real and personal property valuations prior to receiving the final certification. So we have to tell everybody and bring them in and make that available.
Usually, public disclosure is done after you get preliminary certification
Yeah,
and before you get final certification. That's when you want to put your public disclosure up there.
right. And so the question becomes, any changes to assess values as a result of the public disclosure should be made prior to submission to your LA 10. So they can come back and ask for an abatement even
Not
before,
an abatement. It has to be if something,
and not through the abatement process.
it's
Okay.
not an abatement.
And
If something was wrong, if the land
Mhm.
acreage was wrong,
Right.
we could correct it. If the names were wrong, if the deed was wrong, but not abatements.
Okay, and
That's-
the abatements occur after the final
After
bill
the-
is sent.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
So you
Right.
gotta tack on another couple of weeks even after the DOR gives us the approval then. I'm sorry, after the preliminary piece, you gotta give them a couple weeks to at least get the bill and make the
I'll
statement.
check with Marlene because that's really the tax collector's department.
Okay,
So I'll check with Marlene. And of course, we have a new billing system that is not
Quite
really
there.
working.
All the bugs
Right
have been
there.
worked out?
There's a lot of bugs in it,
all right. Keep it.
No, that's unfortunate.
but I'll
Thank
check with Marlene on that.
Thank you, Rena.
So anyway, okay, good. I don't know if we concluded anything there, but it was a really good discussion. No, it was.
Yeah, it was.
I will try to shut it off, but I don't think it's any good.
It was just some questions that popped up, that's.
Yep, no, that's good.
That's fine.
What about, we talked maybe about some outreach to the lake groups, and I don't know that we came up with any ideas on what we could do. And maybe we'll just table that till some other time, because we aren't really quite prepared to
We're not,
talk about
can't
that.
tell them anything that's really gonna drive
Well,
anything, and you don't wanna
guess
tell them
that's
anything
true.
that's not true.
And are there any other groups that we want to highlight?
There's a general public,
Well, yeah, but that's yeah.
yeah,
'Cause
I,
this-
I think we
this-
can do a lot by posting our minutes.
yeah. I think,
What a thought.
And in terms of what's getting done too.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
people do read those.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
do hope that they show up. And we are on YouTube and Zoom. So we do have actually a passive outreach going on for
Fair.
almost all of the general
General
public.
Mhm.
Yep.
For people who have very specific things, I think we have 3 of them that we are starting to address. So as things come up, we'll probably think of more, but I don't have anything else right now.
Okay, if it's okay, I'm gonna move on.
I'll move back up,
What are we moving up to?
going back up to the interim report from the principal assessors.
Oh,
We skipped that part because you
we
weren't here
skipped
yet.
your report because you weren't here yet.
because- But I emailed it to you.
I know.
Yeah,
You
it
wanna
was
just
good.
tell us
And I
all
didn't
about
even
it?
bring my own
You
copy.
can tell. I probably have one here.
I
Oh,
did not bring my
No.
computer.
Just like I have been really busy the past 2 or 3 weeks, going out, doing inspections, doing construction, and, putting them in the computer. Yeah, that's basically it. These are all the building permits that were issued in 2002, some lingering from 21 I've looked at. 23, I've looked at a few things, but only if they're small things, additions or decks or whatever. The majority of them I've been working on is new houses. And I actually did up for you guys. This I entered into today. And on page
Which one?
2, it just says whether it's a new house or 100% complete, things that I went out to that were not
oh,
previously.
it ran over.
So, yeah. So, the one big one on the top, is the new warehouse. And that is, I only have that at 70% complete.
Right, that's in the other
And
report.
it's coming in at over 13 million in value. And with the house, as you can see down the bottom, the total value is $28,516,390,000. And if you multiply that by the tax rate, it's like $357,000.
387, 669.
So that's basically what's been keeping me busy. Aside of going out and actually driving around to make sure they're actually been built, and the hardest part is coming back and entering all the stuff and sketching the houses in the computer. So because I have to go on the building inspectors and print out all the plans, and and then you're gonna have to make sure that, you have to go out to make sure they're built to the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Specs on the plan, so really that's what's been keeping me busy at night. Keeping me up at night.
The grandkids too, right?
So, yeah.
Could I-
and,
Could I ask a question, Rena, if that's
Sure.
okay? Okay, is this the feeder to the LA3? Is this? No.
No,
This is just new stuff,
Just new growth.
That's
new
new-
stuff,
that's
just
growth.
out of permitted,
That's growth.
permitted growth.
right.
Okay,
And that will, and on that, I don't have yet the lot splits that I've done.
mhm.
If a parcel was subdivided, and I think probably, when I came on in January, that was one of the things CJ had asked me to do, because he hadn't had a chance to catch up on that.
Right,
And I think maybe there's only probably about 6 or 7 plans that are lot splits. And it's usually somebody subdivided a lot, maybe
Right.
took one lot out or
Sure.
2 lots. It's not big numbers.
now have you reviewed those for these arm length transactions? All these are
Well, these are all new.
These are,
new,
these are new growth, so there's no sale.
new growth?
This, yeah.
Okay, there's no arm length in terms of owning property, selling it in advance
Well,
before it becomes.
most of these are sold, and what I do is I just I make sure that I see that there is a deed on them, so I know they're complete.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I go into the building department to make sure they have an occupancy permit.
right,
And on some of those, because they were the occupancy permits were in '22, but they hadn't been sketched in, they will get supplemental tax bills.
so it could be more or could actually be less if it wasn't.
Well,
I mean, more. I'm saying it'd always be more. It'd always be higher,
I
yes.
still have houses that have not gone out and inspected and sketched.
Right.
I mean, I've got a pile like this that I've already done, but there's probably maybe at the most about 10 more houses that I have to check on.
Great.
Congrats.
So we,
This is, if I had the job, I actually like the sketching. I like the inspections. So.
and Mr. Chairman, if I could, okay, based on some past experience, and Rena, you weren't here for any of this, I believe, but there used to be a system that we had, and it came back, but it went away. This is in terms of the processing of all your building permits, and basically, when this permit pulled, they notify a whole series of departments, like conservation. Are you going to have to participate in these pieces?
There's a whole checklist. they
Right,
go through, yep.
and the whole checklist, and essentially the Board of Assessors is on this checklist. Are we getting it, are we getting that report now?
Yes,
Okay.
the new building inspector,
Right.
he and I are getting to be good friends.
Good shot, good.
He'll call me up and meet me at 2 o'clock at this address.
Which bar?
Yes.
No, well,
So,
And that's good, because once a house sells, it's very difficult to get in there.
yeah,
But when they're looking for their occupancy permit, it's finished, they want it signed off.
right,
So yes, I have been going out with the building inspector.
yeah, and so
Yes.
and you're getting the reports. I know,
Yes.
from what I'm told from 2 different sources, that prior year or the prior building inspector didn't really like this system. And I know this is
Yeah.
before your time. And at the same time, I also went back and asked CJ, have we been doing the post-sales inspections as well as the permitted inspections? And he looked at me and said, Jack, honestly, I haven't had the time. I have not been able to get near it. So we've got this stuff sitting out there that would be affecting this tax year that I believe we may not have gone out and tried to capture all that
Oh, I think
revenue.
I've got a lot of them.
Oh, you should, I think you do. So the question becomes, how do we audit this to what we might have missed?
Well, Sheila is really good about, almost on a daily basis,
Uh-huh.
going into the, I think it's Open Gov, and it takes you into the building department. And she checks, to see who has occupancy permits and
Uh-huh.
what new construction
So-
is. And then she'll print anything out for me. So she's pretty good about keeping up with it. Then we do get some notices. you know.
Yeah, I'm just wondering,
I know
would
the
it,
gas inspector sent me a notice, he had an inspection was coming up, and I said, do you want me to come? He says, no, I should get that.
So-
So, you know, I said, okay, fine.
I guess I'm wondering if we could get some sort of a list of all the permits that were, and
Well,
the
see,
permit.
they're put in by numbers. It's,
Uh-huh.
and, you know, you just have to look at, to see what's there, because I pulled cards that were written on from Sue, when she was here, Sue Burns. There were 21 building permits, and she went out to do inspections, and they were not started. You know,
Yeah.
so you just have to keep looking and going back and checking all the permits
So would
to
it,
see who has occupancy permits.
yeah, so would it make sense to cause an investment? Not you guys, you're way alone, but it would be smart for us to go ahead and say, let's go find a contractor to do the audit to make sure we've collected everything. And I'm betting that based on history of what happened on our personal property side, when we changed auditors, and also we brought in 300 to 400,000 more, that story that Lou's telling,
That's different, because the contractor we had
he didn't do
at
it.
that time, he refused to do personal property.
Yeah, but he was in his
We
contract.
paid him for it. It was
Yeah,
in
we
his
paid it,
contract.
and we didn't, yeah,
And
no
he
one
refused
managed
to do
that
it.
supplier.
So he's
So
no
that-
longer our contractor, right?
Oh, no.
Thank
No,
you.
no, he's gone.
So
And,
let's-
but
and a
what's-
lot of the inspections were, not done because of him.
Right, right. We failed to manage our supplier. So in this particular case, it's not a failure to manage your supplier, it's a failure or potential failure that says, you know, we didn't get to it and it wasn't timely, and did we get in, you know, we're supposed to be doing inspection at post-sales to see what happened, and there's a whole series of activities
Yeah,
that could bring revenue to us.
We've got a pretty good system with the building department, though.
Okay,
So it's working out pretty good. Because, you know, I mean, if you just look at this, the number of new houses.
oh, I think
that I
that
have put in.
what you're doing is great. I'm just trying to capture something that we're taxing on in coming into this time period. The stuff you're doing right now is good for next year, right? But
For 24.
24, right. So why wouldn't we go
But there
back?
will be some of them, if they had occupancy permits in 22, they will get supplemental tax.
Right, to a percentage, that's if we even captured it.
So,
And I'm just saying that there's a list. Is there a difference between what they had permits for and what we went out and said we have it? And just to see how many did we not get? You can do it a quick sample, you know, you don't have to do 300 or, I have no idea how many permits we get a year, but I suspect it's quite a number. And so let's just go do a random check, but don't you do it, let's go get somebody to do it. Spend a couple bucks to make a couple bucks,
I don't think there's
you know.
a contractor out there for that. You know, nobody's gonna, the building department sends us the permits, we go out, we inspect them.
So-
So,
And you're getting 100% of them right now? I mean, you're getting 100% of the ones, permits that are going through right now?
I don't know if we have 100%, but there sure are a lot.
Is there an audit?
A lot of new houses in there.
Yeah.
And every time a new house, we get notification from the building inspectors.
Mhm.
And that's what Sheila's looking
And-
at every
Yes.
day.
And Sheila's seeing every one of them?
Sheila is great about going in and looking at permits on a daily basis to
Mhm.
see. And if it's something like, we get a list of all the building permits as well. So if it's something like solar panels and new roofing, we don't even bother with those because that's maintenance.
Yeah, no tax.
You can't tax solar panels, so, you know, new windows, you know, new siding.
Mhm.
It's the construction that.
Okay,
She just goes in, she puts the building permits in, notes that, you know, it's not a value change, just like
Mhm.
a new roof or something, so, yeah.
so
She's really good about that, and she has a list. She gets a list from.
does she have a list? And does she compare her list to what she's been able to check out to what the building department's list is, you know, and the permit numbers and things like that? Does she try to?
She
Cool.
tracks all those permits, so. And if it's big things like these houses, she puts them right on my dish.
I get the houses part. It's that deck that Carl
That's
went
what
out
you
and built
want.
last year. There's no Carl here, by the way, in the room. So,
um,
So she checks, the building permits come in and she looks at the building permits,
There's
And-
usually a list.
and from the building permits,
Then
she
she
pulls
goes-
out which one.
She gets a list of building permits
Yeah.
that have been filed, and then she'll go in, oh, this one's on solar panels, then I'm not bothering with it. This one's a new heating system.
Yeah, and so from that, she generates what you need to look into.
Right, right.
So it goes from all of the building permits, Sheila examines them and then sends them to you. And that's how we have all of
Right.
this.
So I think Mr. Abbott indicated that in the past, he feels that we may have missed some.
Right.
Is there some way to go back and find out if we've missed any by reviewing this, all the outstanding building permits? And I know that's maybe a big pain in the butt. It may not be worth the
I
effort.
don't know, I would have to check with the building inspector.
Okay, that's what I think that's what
If
you're
you
trying to
could, yeah,
ask.
if
And
you
then,
could.
because if you want to run an audit, you have to have
Yeah.
data to audit against. And you need to know what were the building permits and which ones did we actually do something with and which ones did we not need to? And is there anything left that we should have? So, and that may be a, I don't know,
So,
few month effort, who knows?
It sounds
Or it
like-
could be a week.
so it sounds like we could get a list of all the building permits and.
We already get it.
Yeah,
Our office
and check
already
it with
gets
what
it.
we have.
Mhm. Well, the list of building permits is going to be hundreds
Very
and
long.
hundreds and
Yeah,
hundreds
that's
long.
what Sheila goes through, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. It would be really good if we could all feel very comfortable that we're not missing much.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
think you miss any houses, so.
No,
Well,
I-
probably not
These are
missing
big
houses. That's true. And anything below that is
As
probably,
you know, you're driving down the street and like,
did I?
was that there before?
Was that?
When did
Not
that-
on my street. So I don't know if that, does that satisfy what you were asking about?
Yeah,
It sounds like we've had a problem in the past that we
And it
may
was a
not have as
whole, and
much
it was
of
a
a
whole,
problem
like I said, it
today.
was long before your time, and I'm just saying, were we ever really able to keep up? Because we're always shorthanded in that office to begin with. We were always shorthanded. There's not enough energy to do all the stuff you're doing, and you're doing an awesome job, Rena. I really believe that. It's just that there's something out there. And I think, I went back and looked at some other stuff, and with regard to parcels and transfer companies selling a valuable piece of property, and mostly property, off to their sibling company, and also the appreciation of the estimated value going from now from 800,000 to 200,000. How'd that happen? It was a sleight of trick, and if we just travel and believe their books, but the reality is that wasn't an arm's length transaction. It should have held at the 800,000. But I just shut up because I
So
didn't
if
wanna
you
get the
have
house
some
burned down.
instances of that, we should bring them to the principal assessor
Yeah.
and let her figure it out.
Yeah,
And, yeah.
I think that's.
But as
pretty
far
good.
as the question that you asked
Well, if it's
before.
incorporation, we have to, no matter what the price is, we have to code that out as incorporation.
Yeah,
So it's not thrown in with all the rest of the
Right.
sales.
Right, right.
Right, so it's no
So
longer arm's length.
honestly, if you find some more, if you have some instances, let's make sure and bring them to their attention. And
I don't want to have my house burned down. No, I'm only kidding.
you took this
No.
job, didn't you?
I know. Jane didn't.
Just
Jane
saying.
didn't. I know. I'm only kidding.
Okay. So we're still on the assessors.
Right, so go ahead, Rena.
Okay. And-
Well, except for
Well,
the-
did you have something more on there, Jack, before we?
This was the October 10th, and then if I could, I'd like to just, Rena, your report from the prior week.
I know I didn't change the date on it,
No, that's okay,
but I
don't.
did on this one.
Yeah, on this one, the thing of it is, it's hard to get it at the meeting or just the day before, and then you go read it and you go, oh, what about this? And you never get
Well-
quite around to asking all the questions you would have asked for the prior meeting. So if I could, I would just like to also, after we're done this, go back and ask just a couple questions around this meeting prior in relationship to your report, if that's okay. Yeah, but
I didn't
Mr.
understand.
Chair.
I didn't understand what you wanted.
Okay, you've had the October 11th meeting that we're in. Rena has provided us with an updated report on what happened this past week to give us
Since
these-
our last meeting, yeah.
Since our last meeting. In the prior meeting, we got the report, and from, I believe that was September 27th, and I had some other questions, that's all.
Oh,
Oh,
From
so
that
this is
report.
from your prior report. He has some open questions that we didn't get to because we hadn't gotten your report until near the last minute.
Mhm.
That's a fair,
Yeah.
well, do you want to jump into that right now? Because it's still part of the assessor's report.
Well, she's got to
Oh.
finish this piece too. She's got to let it finish this week.
All right, let's finish this
Well,
week.
the only thing I have left on this one is, you guys, got a copy of, a withdrawal notice for 80
Right. For
801 Lancaster.
Yep.
The purchase and sales agreement was supposed to be given to the selectmen, I believe, today. We haven't gotten,
I don't.
that's
have it.
just the notice that he's pulling
That's,
out.
but it's not Lancaster.
Oh, is that Cannock,
This is
Oh,
this
This
what
is
you're talking about?
Northfield Road.
yeah, this
Northfield Road.
is the one that,
Is that the one you want?
it's no,
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
actually, that is,
I want to make sure I know which one you're talking about.
you know, I've done so many rollback taxes this week. All right, no, Tanacol is the one, he
Okay.
sent out
That's
the
not what you were
letter, he
talking
wishes to
about. Sorry.
withdraw.
Mhm.
Yes, it is.
It is the
Tanacol.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on, I forget what street.
108
This
Northfield
Northfield
Road.
Road.
This property is Northfield.
Yeah,
Okay,
Northfield Road.
he is pulling out, he has 64 acres. He is pulling out a 24-acre subdivision, and he's leaving the rest of his land still in chapter. So he has sent his notice that he wishes to pull out a chapter. They called today and said the P&S would be in the selectmen's hands today. I didn't check with Heather to see if it was. So, you have to vote to approve it coming out of chapter. The P&S will be sent to you, if you wanna wait until the P&S is at the meeting. Then, the selectmen have 120 days to act on, whether the town wants to buy
Right.
it out.
Mhm.
But the town, if they wanna buy it, they have to meet, the price on the P&S.
Yeah.
Therefore the P&S, so that will be coming out of chapter. Then there's another one that's coming out of chapter, and I
Rena,
think it's
before
because,
before you jump to that one, if I could,
sure,
yeah, he's got 31 acres he's going to pull out according to this piece, and it's in front of the town. This is property code V because it's multiple lots,
yes,
and so it's considered a non-arm's length transaction, I believe. And so when he goes and sells those parcels, it's not what he's asking us to buy them for. It's going to be what he sells each parcel for
no,
and
it's gonna be what he's selling the total parcel.
total parcels. But when it's a multiple parcel sale, he goes into an arm's. He's now
When
no longer
he
meeting
sells
that.
those,
If he sells them, yeah,
yeah, and he'll probably sell them all to one developer.
yeah. And so, but he's still selling that value. It's no longer. It becomes more valuable if he sells it to that
Yeah,
developer.
because they're
Yeah.
now separate lots, they will
Right.
be separate
Yes.
lots.
So
Right.
I have I have a
Please.
couple of questions. There's an open space committee in town, and this should go before them also. So I don't know if we should wait till we get the purchase and sale agreement
usually-
potentially.
Usually, the copy of the purchase and sales agreement, one should come to the assessors, one should go to the selectmen, and one should go to the planning board. And then the planning board usually distributes it, to any other, like conservation and stuff. Are you guys interested,
But it ultimately starts here.
So this one is on our list for our information at this time. We don't really need to take an action.
You don't have to.
Okay,
Okay.
so
When that
I would like to
purchase-
table
I would
part of
say-
that discussion until such time as we actually have the P&S, so we know what the process is.
Yeah.
The P&S was supposed to come in today.
But we don't have it for this
We
meeting,
don't
so
have it yet.
we
So,
can't do anything with it.
Happy to do it later.
So I would like to table the discussion
Sure.
on, now, this was true, you said there were two parcels that were coming out, one was this one and one was another one?
Well,
Was that the same situation, we don't have the P&S on it yet, or?
no,
Okay.
Okay, then we'll table both of those. Thank
and
you.
I only have this
And
one because
you're-
the owner of, it's the executor, the state called me and asked me what that's 61B property, what the rollback taxes were. And I think I had it with all my papers, so that's why I was.
That's okay, I'm glad you brought it to our
But there's
attention,
two of them.
but it is not for our action at this time, so I would like to really table that one
And the
and just
notice
move on.
starts when we have the,
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
okay.
That starts the clock on the 120 days.
I will second that motion.
Oh, well, there was a motion, I didn't-
Oh.
oh, that we
You made
accept
the
the
motion.
that we
I
ex-
accept the motion to table it.
Oh, to table, okay,
Yeah.
Sure,
I actually did make that.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, let's move on.
let's move on.
Good job.
Did you want to go back now
To
the-
I think, yeah, I can do that.
to the report of the 27th?
Yes. Okay, new construction parcels. We kind of addressed this with regard to the permitting process and are we getting them all? And now we've kind of agreed we're going to do a quick audit. So that got that piece because it showed up a couple times. The revaluation project, the 5-year plan, is that reval, 5-year reval in this last week's meeting minutes to us. It said
Is that we have kickoff meeting with micro vision consultant, and town manager and myself. Have a little bit of a problem there, in that, in the contract for the den and the contract requirements, because they need to form the stuff. They will. That's on the picture.
No,
Oh, hey.
and they're reviewing all sales. There's the ballot sale, there's the use and the sales now. And, they'll come up with, they'll come up with something to present to
Presented
the board.
to the board, to our board, right?
Yeah.
So, requesting that we're kind of willing to charge it, making sure these numbers will work. But we're employing outsourcing agent as our agent, rather than us going to be involved. I would humbly request that whenever you have a outsourced agent contracted, that a member of the board of assessors sits in with you to gather this information. And I appreciate this is a report, but I'm sure there's no comment. Yeah, report. And for that matter, there's another piece to it that basically there's a finance component to that, in terms of BOR requirement that not finance out there. That there is a regular monthly financial, we should be spending that.
So let's do the subject.
Oh, okay. It's consistent with the.
Knock them off one at a time, get them all.
Okay, not more.
The first one, I believe what Rita was describing was in work. Those work meetings are, we asked her to do. I don't think that the board needs to be in attendance for all those work meetings. So if you were making a motion to have a board member attend those meetings, I would be voting against that.
Okay.
It's a work meeting issue. So that would just be my position on it. If you made that as a motion, I don't know if you made it as a
I'm
motion.
just referring to the terms.
Correct, says the board of assessment is our.
Yeah, these, it is a board of assessment. Okay,
That we should be.
yeah, we should begin, and if that, we started with, we should have gotten some sort of community issue, and is there a plan to catch up? It clearly said board of assessment, and I think that the part of the problem that we had before, whenever you outsource stuff and we're coming for playing with a hybrid, the reality is your quality, continuous communication is actually heightened as people are managing supply, right? Versus, oh, this is good, just send me the data That's how we get public health, right? Like what happened back then. So
we really can't talk about it happened 3, 4, 5 years.
yeah, but continue to use itself.
Please stop.
And the thing is, I think that the board of assessors has to be more active with regard to the management and interplay with our outsourced folks. Now, we've got not just vision, we also have our people who do operational property, we've got Nate, we've got Spinell,
You know, these companies are doing this.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, they know where to go, they know what they're looking for to do. The IMU, they review the forms of work, they know that. Dunkin' Donuts here has this equipment, Dunkin' Donuts over here, pretty much everything. For value on it, you know, the same thing is true.
and
Another thing, ready to feel.
so,
But it was, but the rest is what we were, you can't take them to the contract. Yes, and, you know, so far, they, are doing what we asked to do.
and I'm going to talk with the IGF,
Yeah, this is what this is, town.
I'm very satisfied with the responses we came with that thing. And that's it. And I don't know, and I believe that Mike Rowe, and I happen to know one of the auditors on their team, my buddy Bob. And I'm happy, but he's just still person. Okay. And so I haven't talked to him. Anyway, and there's other requirements that we as a town have been to provide them on the schedule. And I don't know if the suppliers like to browse in our direction from where we are. And I think that as we go through this milestone, I'll give you an idea. The federal Lindbergh should provide zoning classification for each parcel and current to the most recent year. Town of Lindbergh shall provide one set of zoning maps. Have we provided the number? Right. Have we? It's not believing. Shouldn't we be stepping back a bit, right? And again,
Well, I think the first start to get into it. But you should step it down. I think they have. So. They will not go.
is the new zoning map done?
They,
No, it's in the town though. Town of Lindbergh shall provide one set of zoning maps. Right, and our zoning,
So we'll just, you have to.
the zoning map, that big piece of paper hanging on TJ's wall.
Yeah.
Right, all the colors or some of the colors were wrong. I didn't know this was in there. So, this particular document.
Zoning map.
Yeah.
I, when it is turned to what they want.
Is this on? It's on there? I think it's just my spot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
all
pretty
like
fine.
stuff.
Except
It's on our own. Yeah.
Right, and they're wrong.
And some of them, based on multiple jurisdictions. There's no data, no one.
Yeah.
We can't use that as a fine.
Tell a little virtual for a fine.
Not responsible to maps. So if we're sending them maps that have viewed this map, that.
The maps that we're sending them have been updated by DAI up to September, I think he said it was 26th of. The maps get reprinted every year.
Yeah.
The new subdivisions get sent to them, they do the maps.
Right.
So they have the latest copy.
So there's the latest copy and then sort of you're sending the dates on that. Okay. Property codes.
And they have asked them.
Not yet. It's not a little virtual connect available.
They have asked.
It will be. And if the town of Woodburn shall make available through the contract property records or copies thereof the contract shall be responsible. And I just went back and looked at the property records and they're still not up to date. This is still part of the change. And so what are the plans?
As far as what's online, that's, I know they're rules, they're not gonna, that was part of, hopefully part of the new website. Yeah.
Yeah, when I looked, there were two parts. One was 3 years old, and even the numbers didn't match the newer vision card that referenced the date. And the vision card is only good to February of 2023. And I know we had updates, but even that hasn't been up.
Well,
So
the database has been, vision has access to our entire database, all of it.
so the town people,
So we don't have to worry about that.
The townspeople don't, use the website, it's not right.
Yeah.
Right, lots of that, that's very good.
the only concern is that we had gone and we voted on some data that wasn't.
What was it? Property, itself. Prior to us now.
Was last year or something, with a lot of confusion around property cards, which one you believe more than me. And then there was a difference, and I can, if I find the card, I'll show you the difference.
That's something I called the. I don't know your answer now. And I've not, the other one has not gotten back to me. And I do have, okay, I think I've got them in PDF form. He said if I send those, yeah, I'll get it. But he said there was something that he had to link into my computer. So that it's an automatic every so many months it'll update the website. And that hasn't been done yet. That's probably. And that's that would be solved.
Right.
You're correct.
Okay, that's
One
one.
that
So, Brian, this is what you think.
Oh, yeah, it's wrong. You know, the room today, I know.
What's
Right. Well, the board.
I'm sure that the parts.
Well,
It doesn't have to be fast. To get us to that time. Because that's an important one. You know, citizens need to be able to follow their but and whatever, I mean, the kids are mandated, these market days, I don't know. But give us a line to get. We're on the,
let's see, we'll get that, when we verify the property insurance data, for these properties, it's for other times. We're verifying that. You know, the question becomes, we're supposed to be doing a certification of every piece of property, every 10 years. That is correct.
Yeah,
that's the.
Yeah, okay, that's the inspection. As far as a real property to be inspected. The reval one, these guys are doing drive-by, basically verifying.
yeah, but even in the, PJ has a spreadsheet between what these companies did and what,
Yeah, I did the 408.
the other contractors, we're in line, the next step.
Cycle start at every 5-year reval and goes out.
But it's a 10-year program.
Yeah.
It should be, the new program started one.
We start now. Yeah, because I can't tell you how many people, no one's ever been inside my house. But no one, a lot of, yeah.
You know, we were so far behind because it's not doing the cyclical inspection. That's 10-year program, cyclical inspection.
And that was obvious with CJ. And then,
Well, we did away with this contract.
and the only other piece that I had in that section was the vision cards. There's a lot, in the vision card. Okay. Basically, there's a lot of other information to start capturing. And I'm not asking anybody to think about that, but with regard to valuation of property, there's a lot of pieces that, you know, anyone needs to, orientation of a home, vista views, I know what's happening. Pardon?
We can change the vision part.
We can add to it.
Yeah, we. That is the same card, the public.
And they won't allow you to add next item.
Well, it's their project.
Right. And when I looked at the fields, they were, it looked like there was plenty of space for other stuff. And I won't take it any more time, but I think that when we get down to things like cottage industries and things like that, we want to start adding if we can. And, but at the same time, the system won't allow us to do it. I guess
No, that's the fine. That's vision part.
that's vision cards. So the property is all fenced in versus not fenced in, and that won't show up on the vision card.
And that's the change it out. Whether a place is turned in.
Or so. Right, we take the amount of square footage in land, and then we look at the house and the surrounding pieces of articles. So if someone's got a low landscape yard versus someone has nothing.
Landscaping is not to be seen.
Yeah.
Not in Massacre. Landscaping.
And so if plumbing in the garage doesn't find it, you know, the bathroom there, if there's.
Oh, no, if there's a bathroom, not, we can catch, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Is it a corner lot, does that count then?
Yeah.
Then the fire hydrant, what is this? I went out and, earlier, trying to figure out value, I went and looked at all the real estate property. And broke them out into things like even street traffic and neighborhood presentation, free density. I tried to follow.
Street traffic free in the site index. Heavily traveled road, it's gonna be, like that.
And I did have a hard time understanding those, there's no code associated that I could get to from the property part itself, and understand what those numbers meant. So, anyway, I'm just,
Will that, public, will be able to tell from the code what type of building it is or what?
Well, on the back where all the house features, see a code, like CL, or it's a Hawaii.
Right.
But usually it's a CL, where you put out the fire. And it's a manual, so,
Right.
it's a manual, you know.
So how do we accommodate that? No, so it's the greatest, and then we don't try to differentiate all with regard to the value. And then somebody comes on the corner and buy a that jacks up the value, right? The house can capture that, but it also affects all the other people in the neighborhood as well.
But we don't have to, remember,
Yeah, but we don't, we have.
We don't.
Yeah. So,
you got frame the line, you balance the frame, that's what you do, now the frame. They're not real estate agents, that's not a house, you know, fenced in yards, something, no,
based on the sale of my house.
you know, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, don't go there. Yeah. Okay. I think that we are ready to move on to that. I must apologize. There are more things to do. Let's do it. Vision government solutions. And $940. Ever reduce the bills? For vision and RRSD. RRSD for $9,000. Yeah, that was on 1010. We have one on 10.2. It's virtually identical. It's a $9,000 for RRC, $942 for Vision Government Solutions. So here, I'm trying to figure out what the difference is.
Maybe one
But they're different dates. So I'm trying to figure out what the difference is before we start signing. And I forgot to bring the other way. Oh, this is not good. I'm sorry. So, So, let me hand these to you and notice what the differences are, so they're virtually identical. Except for the date. I don't want to double pay it, you know.
It could, it just. You have to have something happen.
But the dates are different. I don't, you want, if they're the same document, they have to have the same date. Right? So I'm concerned about signing those today, because I don't understand why they're cheap. Good. Okay, yeah, that was in this, and if Heather's reviewing them, that's great, but they're good for personnel. Sorry. You throw that curveball on it. Okay, so everything else away our agenda. We're not saving any. Please. Okay. On the agenda for new business, we have building value policy. And the question was whether we should add a seasonal use cottage. Or if that's something meaningful, yeah. Oh, lovely. I think it makes sense that we have a seasonal use cottage because our other bungalow cottage is unnecessarily seasonal and they aren't, they should not be valued the same. So I for one, was what.
Yeah. I would also say June, being there were 3 lakes in town. I only have 2 big lakes that came together. And, you know, yeah, guys. Seasonal cottages in your own home. You know, the third is mostly the state system budget. Something that going forward we have to add to the basic. So how do you go about it? So adding that.
Right. Which is also, I don't know.
Adding stuff is just putting it, you know, adding new, description in the code. Yeah, this description of the code. Yeah. I think it's going to be,
Oh, yeah, the number of sales that have been about. It's all, that sounds,
you know, and plus, you know, especially.
I thought we were, but I went out and pulled the legal definition of people homes. And cottage is one that, unit not exceeding 56 square feet, 600 square feet. And in years in per, seasonal cottage, the legal definition is legal cottage. Just a starting point.
oh,
That's, well, inside. It seems to be common definition. It's fine.
if I may.
Yeah.
Since you're going to put together on the qualifications are, what the criteria are, and people be.
Well, it's essentially basically, something that is not used year round, doesn't have, you know, central heating. You have to be shut for room.
Yeah. And you can tell us what works right here. Is that fair? I don't think you. And was there something else on that?
Well, yeah, actually, like the fire and things, got, I don't know, temporary basis, first and third.
Oh,
okay.
But those criteria, you want to suggest those criteria to.
I'm glad it passed the radar. Yeah, and the project should be part of recreation. Good times, you know, some projects is seasonal, it's like a little bit rain, it's not happening. What can they? There you go.
So, yeah. Okay, cool. So,
Oh, they get in it, I just description, come on. The legal part, it's in the most honest. It's like, hey,
okay, we talked about the community meeting, the update on, actually, we sort of talked. I indicated somewhat. But one purpose too long to go on for. Future agenda topics, and these are just things that I hope that we want to talk about in the future. I would like to talk about in the future. There may be other things that you want to add to this list. I think we should keep a running list of those things we want. Was there anything from today that we should add? No. On the future agenda, I think. Okay.
Timeline.
Jack, while she's looking at something, after you look at that,
I have future things, yeah, I've,
what's your book?
The money, that.
I'll keep going with this.
right. With regard to legislation, and I believe it's still been that included as we go.
It was supposed to be up in the land, but the department of the land, we said, it's gonna be up in land.
Yeah. Good. And, I know all of us was surprised by it going up. And there is unusual, we thought, and even LA Forest thought, that, why weren't we communicating? I'm not talking about this thing, but our chairman, our manager about why weren't we included?
Maybe a better way to put that would be, how it would be included in the future.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that the Board of Assessors include very much in the development website. Because there wasn't really a complete board. I think the question to me is, how can we make sure we're included in the future? As we finalize the thing, we populate the website.
How can we be involved in that?
Well, at least,
Yeah.
Is it, did I didn't mention?
No, you got it. You know, you did good. I think that thought. Okay, with regard to, well, I think we talked about funds and how do we create a better relationship.
You know, can I interrupt there? But one of the things that we have all these consultants, consulting providers, have all these people that are helping us with these contractors. We don't really have any idea what their contracts look like. Except for the provision. We've all read through the vision on those, but that's it. It's not their contract. Don't know how we go about getting copies of contracts with people that we are working with. Dave, Steve, our we may have a contract with them, I don't know, because you know. This time it wasn't but I don't know how we go about finding out the contract. But I don't know. So is it appropriate for, instead of doing work on our behalf, or assessment behalf, is it appropriate for us to try to ask for those? And should that be a formal request from the board, or should that be something else?
I think.
We met those events, yeah, we pulled the contract. That we're fine.
Wait. So right now, I'd like to talk about, again, we've got ahead of us. So I don't want to do that. I think in the future, as we hire new people, new contracts. Yes. So we should first try to get copies of the contracts. We know what to expect people to do, are going to do for us. What are they going to do for us? Well, there's a whole. I know what some of them. Many of them. Is it going to all? Probably. Yeah, I don't know that. So I'd like to separate the motion into two parts. This meeting.
Made a motion, I say, nobody made a motion.
So, how about,
So you would, so the procurement is not even. Okay. So, it's easy, but. And did you want to second that or you want to?
I second it.
Okay, we'll second that. Is there any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Now, as far as
No,
involvement in future contracts.
no. In terms of a future contract, I know in the past, it was it wasn't that there, and the day back now, over by year, that we need to be getting ready for this 5 year, and something happened. And we should, and you told me, kind of pulled out, and we don't know what happened, and we didn't move yet, going again to January. All I would ask,
That's contract related.
yeah,
Okay.
future contract, and I would ask it, if we request the consideration future contract, that we be involved in the whole development piece. It's kind of like, the engineers come up with an idea and say, hey, we want to do this, and the purchasing department's fine, take it. And they ignore all your specifications or the additional inputs that you might want to get. They just go out and get you one, right? They give it us all. Yes, well, I agree. But in either case, I would like to make sure that we're involved in all the development with regard to the contract, not just presented to us when it's ready to be signed. Because they do the work. She signs the contract, we're not, but the development of it, and the terms and conditions, you can know that. But with regard to the deliverables, we're going to.
There was actually, see, they had written and said, hey, and this is back in October the 16th of prior year, said we need to be getting ready for this 5 year. And something happened. And he says, and he was telling me it kind of piddled out and we don't know what happened. And they didn't really get it going again till January. All I would
So
ask,
that's contract related?
yeah.
For
Okay,
future
go ahead.
contract.
Future contracts. And
Go
I
ahead.
would ask that if we request a consideration of future contract, that we be involved in the whole development piece. It's kind of like the engineers come up with an idea and say, hey, we want to do this, and then the purchasing department says, fine, take it, and they ignore all your specifications or the additional inputs that you might want to give. They just go out and get your widget and bring it in because they got to solve the problem.
Make sure this is municipal.
Municipal, I agree. But in either case, I would like to make sure that we're involved in all the development work with regard to the contract. It's not just presented to us when it's ready to be signed, but because we do the work.
You guys don't sign the contract.
No,
That's
she
true.
signs the
That's
contract,
true.
we're
That's
not, but the development of it, and the terms and conditions, she can handle that. But with regard to the deliverables within that contract, we want, and for that matter, that contract should also allow for verification of performance at various times within that contracted period.
We don't know that they're not.
I don't know anything.
We don't know.
I just want to make
Right,
sure
so-
it's there.
So we're not saying that doesn't already exist.
Yeah, there is something in there.
So,
So maybe, how about, can we review the current contracts so we know what exists in them, and then make a motion about what we want to see in future contracts after,
maybe,
or,
because.
I mean, I think we should be involved in developing what deliverables we need from a contract, and I think we
Correct.
should be involved in the timeline.
Correct.
And I don't know that our previous contracts were intentionally excluding
Right.
Board of Assessor input.
Mhm.
I think it might have been something to be a stopgap to get things done.
Right.
I don't know what the
Well,
intent
I'm not sure
is.
how much interest the prior boards had in
In that.
knowing what those details were, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
It's fine.
Absolutely. But I think what we're hearing from this board is we'd really like to have some input to the deliverables and measurables on future contracts in support of the Board of Assessors.
Is that-
Does that make sense?
Well,
Well,
not only just input, but
We
to,
don't-
if we're at a loggerhead or somebody else says, no, we don't want you to do that, we have the right of refusal, or and to not.
I think we'll work together and see if we need to do that.
Okay, I'm hoping you're right.
Well, yeah. If you want to have approval authority, then that sort of usurps some of the responsibilities of the procurement officer. So I'm not sure we want to go there. I'm not sure I want to go there.
If I can, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
If I am the person who's doing the work and knowing the most about the work to be done, and I'm the person that's requesting the information, I think I should have the right,
Requesting the,
the
Resource.
contract or the resource
okay?
to conduct these activities that I need. I think that if the contract doesn't reflect those needs, that I should have the right to refuse to accept the contract as proposed by whoever does the development, the procurement team or whatever. So I just think that we need to have a kind of a final say if it's not working. Now, from what I understand, there was an impasse, and that's the reason why they didn't get it out didn't get restarted again till January.
Impasse in the contract?
No, impasse between what was desired and, were you there when that was all happening, Rena? This is
If you can articulate what the impasse was better than I can
I
understand.
don't know that because I just said
Oh.
that, it basically, I asked CJ, I said, what happened? He goes, I told him we needed to get this thing started back in October the 13th.
Them being
and
our contractors?
Them being our
No.
procurement group.
Okay.
And nothing really happened. Go ahead, but you can add something to it.
Well, I think there was a lot of back and forth on what should be in the contract and how the contract should be written
Mhm. Yeah,
for
Okay.
the reval.
right. And then.
Okay.
And then CJ said it stopped, all of a sudden everything just stopped, but maybe.
Well, I don't think it stopped, it's just that they
It-
were going to other communities and there were a lot of revisions
Mhm,
before the final
yeah, and then they took out
RFP was put out. It wasn't
And-
the contract, it was the
the
RFP.
RFP
Okay.
in January, yeah.
Okay.
So I just would like to have that, making sure that we have our dibs in there.
So would it make sense for us to be copied on the RFP and have some input to it as opposed to the contract?
You're gonna have to talk to Heather about that.
No, I meant, yeah, no, I get that.
No, we gotta-
I'm, yeah.
It's above my pay rate.
If you work 25 hours, you could do it, but you can't work 20.
26.
Oh, God.
Maybe that's as opposed to a motion we should ask the question of Heather about,
Yeah, you might want to speak to Heather about it.
well, right, that's my thought.
Okay.
Is that,
Okay, I'm gonna give you another
that's a good
example.
start? Well,
With regard to the question of, and Rena, this touches on yourself, the principal assessor, when we're doing the looking and things like that, we had asked that why can't we be involved in the preliminary meeting with the employee, to seeing if they technologically kind of fit? And then
interviews?
What's that, interviews?
You-
Technological.
You didn't say interviews. but
Interviews,
okay,
I
is that what you
apologize,
meant?
I'm jumping, yes.
Okay.
And there was a technical fit. And then
Future
if
agenda
you made the recommendation to us, and we had 2 weeks to respond to it, and we would like to be able to say, hey, we want to meet this person on a personal basis and have them meet with the other assessors, the board, the lead assessor, and make sure that they were a fit with regard to personality and likeness and things like that.
So let me interrupt you. We were talking about future agenda items, and we're actually diving into the agenda items that we haven't even listed as an agenda item, I don't think.
Well,
So if we can add that as a future agenda item, or.
Okay.
Because you're talking about making a request of the
Procurement officer.
town manager,
Town
yeah.
manager.
Okay, if you were to,
And about hiring and about
Right.
contracts, which I think we should discuss, but it would be, I think, helpful to discuss it with her.
yeah, why don't we invite her?
So that
There you
could be
go.
a great future
Why don't we invite her?
future meeting.
Yeah, because, by the way, this topic was brought up last meeting, Brian, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I missed
With-
it on the agenda, sorry.
With regard.
So we
and
can
that
add
was-
it to the future
what was it?
And it basically was, hey, there's a discrepancy with regard to the document that was generated.
Oh, I know. Sorry.
A document that was generated on 6/22, and it works under the, clearly works under the direction of the Board of Assessors. And in this particular document, that has no date on it, has no documentation control, and just kind of came out of.
We did talk about this
Yeah, we did.
the last meeting, so.
Yeah.
But
and
we don't need to
there
talk about it
was
right
no-
now. Let's
But
talk
there was
about,
no resolution, and we never received any responses. So what action are we gonna take to see if we can't get that addressed?
So is
so,
that what we want to put on a future agenda topic?
We can put it on next week.
Well-
Next session, but
and what is the issue? The issue is, which document do we, or the issue
What are they
is, what is the
interviewing to?
issue that you're trying to talk about?
I'm talking about, I wanna bring in 2 issues. First of all, there's no documentation control to identify.
And that's on
which-
our list.
Which is on
That's
the
on our
common.
list already.
Okay, and the other part of it is, why did all of a sudden this appear, and were we involved in this development of this particular document?
I don't
And-
even,
And Rena, were you,
That was
this
in
one?
June,
This
so
big one?
I don't know.
What, is that a job description?
No, there's the principal job description they
Those
ran
are
out
done
with.
by the HR director.
Yeah,
Those are done strictly by the HR director.
and
We
so,
have no,
and
we have no.
yeah.
the difference that he's pointing out is, one says, under the direction of, and supervised by, and they look like they're different.
They are different.
So,
Yeah.
maybe
You
that's
have to
something you
check
take
with
up with the
Julie.
HR.
with HR.
So I could put that on the agenda and have Julie come in and talk about that, if
why
you'd
don't we
like.
do that? Let's do that. And let's
And
ask them,
we
when
can't-
are they gonna put their documents under documentation
So-
control?
We can't force anybody else to do documentation control. We can only do ours.
If you're sending documents
We
to
can
us, we
only-
want them under
We
control.
only
We can
control what the
stamp
board-
them.
Okay. And we gotta record
And,
them.
and we have to get to the other things on our agenda.
Yep. Well, that's fair. But you want to have HR
Come and do
to
this.
discuss job descriptions. Oh, that's the short hand version of what we need to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
that is-
And those are valid
Yeah.
issues. I just want to make sure we put them in the right context and are talking to the right people and aren't just talking about a circle that we can't really do anything about. So we need to get those people in here, and we'll do that.
That's why you're a good chairman.
Well, thank you so far.
You are,
I
you
haven't
are.
been fired.
You are.
I need that money to, oh, wait a minute.
I think we're done, Mr. Chairman.
No.
Because we have, we don't want to keep him too late.
Well,
Carl's asleep in the
We're-
corner snoring.
so
Oh, there's no Carl in the room, that's right.
I think we're ready to go to public comment, though. I think. Anybody? Okay. Is there any comment from the public? And if you would like to comment, please come up here so that we can hear you through the microphone. Identify yourself and, you know the drill.
Yeah.
I think so.
Eyes left and cough.
I'll try to speak up. Strict directions from Phyllis.
And you have permission to say that, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning to get up here except to address the question you asked me about communication. And I think you touched on it, I think Sarah touched on what I think makes sense in terms of communication, and that's to use your website. I don't know any other way that would be effective. I mean, email, not everybody accesses everything. Some people use email, some people use Facebook, so I don't think there's any common thing, and I don't think you're gonna, even if you could get everybody's email address, you can't count on reading. I think what you should do is just have a very, well-informed website page, and the town, and I know Castro's is on it, there is a mechanism where people, they have to volunteer, request it, but people can get notified by the town. And you could notify the town every time that there's something posted that might be of interest to them. I don't know what else you can do, in my opinion.
Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it.
I did, unfortunately, I can't seem to come to any town meeting without ending up stressed. And I wasn't sure. I've been looking at something for a few weeks now, and I wasn't sure how to approach it with the board or the town manager or whoever. But after tonight's discussion, I have to bring it up. I would be delinquent in not. There was a lot of discussion on vision cards and the billings and the tax, all of these things. And what really tweaked me and forced me to come up here was the comments about the ongoing full town, whatever you call what Vision is doing for us now.
Reval.
Right.
Reval.
And they have access to the vision cards already, even though the public doesn't, which is another issue. I don't think it's a killer issue. But they clearly are gonna use those vision cards. My problem is, and you may not even be aware of it, I think most of the town is not aware of it, at least the lake resident people. We just went through a big abatement process, came up with new assessment values, and reasonably, people would think that's what would be on the vision card, but it's not. The vision card has, I'll say arbitrarily because I don't know where it comes from, there's been a decision somewhere and already incorporated in the vision card, a change to the land curve, which is excess of the abatements. So you would expect the land curve to have increased by 17% for the average and 55% for the good. Well, they didn't. They increased by 68% for the good. And I forget the number for the average. So there is already baked in to the vision card a tax increase for every lakefront abutter. I can tell you the one we're going to talk about now, the vision card has an assessment, which we don't do anything, is just a little step that nobody noticed, of 5.5% increase over the abatement. Maybe it makes sense, but nobody's talking about it, nobody's acknowledging it, nobody's explaining it, and it's going to be baked into the numbers the way we're moving. The vision company's going to say, well, that's the current one, so everybody needs to go up another 5% or whatever the hell it is. It's a potentially huge issue, and when people figure it out, when the actual bills come out, there is going to be another shitstorm, debacle.
The other word for that.
Yes. So that one, as you can tell, really has me worked up. And
We work on them all the time.
I can't, because they're not on the website, which, yeah, not a problem, but because they're not on the website, I can't do a lot of sanity checks. But I do have 3 tax bills, and they are all consistent, so it's.
Okay, so it's there.
Could
Yeah.
I just clarify one thing? A
Yeah.
land curve is the square footage. It's, the town sets up a land curve
Thank
for
you.
a small lot is, say, 1,000 square feet, and it gets $1 per square foot.
Right.
When you get down to your zoning, which is 2 acres,
Yeah.
then it comes down to like $1.66. So that is different from a site index.
I appreciate you
Which is the
clarifying. I meant to
waterfront.
say site index.
Yeah.
And on the
okay.
table, it's
So I was
called,
wondering-
it's
Okay,
called
I was
site,
confused.
it's called size adjustment on the table, just to confuse things even more, but it's site index. Thank
So
you
it's
very
the-
much.
It's the site index
If you
you
go
see
look
on
at
the
the site
vision card?
index
Yep.
number,
Yeah,
and you see how much it increased, it's too much. It's been a, thank you very much, 'cause that would have,
And-
Further
Well,
confuse
a
things.
lot of people confuse, they think a land curve is,
right.
but a land curve is just
That's,
square.
Yeah,
feet.
that didn't
That's
change.
So-
that's fixed, right,
That did not
essentially.
change. I'm sorry,
Just
thank
so
you.
I
Right.
completely understand, that site index number, is that on the cards that still need to be updated from the from the mapping system?
No, no.
No, it's the other card.
It's on the vision card, it's,
Yeah.
if you look at the,
On
where the
the
land calculation is done,
On the land.
it's
curve.
called size adjustment for
Size
some reason.
adjustment. Okay.
Well, there's a number for, and this is done a little bit different than the way I used to do it. There's a number for waterfront, average and good, and then there's an influence
right.
Yes.
factor that, and you add those 2 numbers together, and that's what got to the $5 and whatever it was, or square, square foot.
So what is, I'm sorry.
Can we put on
I'm
our
sorry,
future
Mr.
agenda?
What is the,
Well, I think
yeah,
it
what
is.
is the influence
Discuss how
factor?
that works.
What is, there's a number they give it.
there must be some criteria for the
For the-
influence
yeah.
factors?
Yeah, you'd actually have to have Nate explain that.
That's
Well,
what it's-
that was, that leads to something else that I was going to bring up during, but go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay.
So I feel much better already.
Oh, good.
Just the last thing is on your contract. I think
Outsourcing.
the key was, and it was mentioned near the end, is the RFP. I mean, that's where all the work is
Right.
done.
Yeah.
And from my too many years on the sewer commission, we went through a lot of these with the town manager and DPW director. And in that case, and I would hope in most, such as this, the scope of services was essentially defined
In the RFP.
by the committee
Yeah.
board,
Right.
the scope
Yeah.
of services, and
That's what
which
we
includes
expect.
deliverables and everything else. And then all the
I'm not sure
contractual
it's-
things that
Right.
are procurement officer, and that's really their job, make sure you call out the
Thank you.
right,
Yeah.
clauses,
All the
laws,
Yeah.
and
That
insurances
RFP
and all that.
is
The RFP
Right,
controls
yeah.
everything.
The RFP
Yeah.
Yep.
is where you need to be
Yep.
90% involved, and that's it's equivalent to an approval, because if you've defined the RFP scope of services,
Okay.
that's.
We don't care who you hire to
That's what
do
you
it, sorta.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
You're
Mr.
very
Watt.
welcome.
I
Thank you for
appreciate
the
it.
opportunity.
Carl, thank you.
Any other comment from the public? Any comment from the board? I bet we're gonna have some. Let's start with Sarah.
I don't have any comments right now.
You don't have any
Wanna help?
comments?
No.
Okay, I would like to go to Mr. Rabbit.
No, I've made enough tonight. And it wasn't too antagonistic, was it?
No,
Okay,
no,
good.
no, did I say that? Only once or twice.
The-
And, yeah, the thing that I want to mention was, Nate was not able to make it today's meeting because he's on vacation
Right.
and will not be back in the office till tomorrow, of course. And we had already set up this time to go into executive session on a piece of property that some people here are interested in. I would like to suggest that perhaps we can get Nate in here next meeting or shortly. so that we can talk to him about, there are several things I'd like to talk to him about, and one of the things is what services is he providing for us? Because he's doing a lot of stuff, but I'm not sure what it is. Do you know what it is, Sarah?
All the things he's doing, I just have the
Some.
RFPs that we,
Yeah.
well, not the RFPs, but
The-
the documents that we
Right.
read.
So-
And what,
So I was going to suggest that we try to get Nate in here for that, and it would potentially be an executive session if he has
Right.
things that he wants to talk about that might be site-specific.
yeah.
Okay. Mr.
Because
Chairman?
there's things I'd like to ask him, and it needs to be a discussion with the
In
board.
that regard, the communications that we've received from Nate, and with regard to, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the address,
Nope.
and, but Sal
No,
Howell with
that's
a low
executive
price.
session.
I inspected it, and it isn't exaggerating. So I think that Nate has made a little bit of a recommendation there.
Right.
Yes,
And so the question is it just one property we're supposed to be reviewing with you folks?
Well,
And,
no, we have something else to discuss with Rena after that,
yeah.
okay.
after the.
So the question is, we have the ability to go and resolve this before you get to the ATB?
I don't know. We're not talking about that here.
Yeah. that-
Right.
We're gonna talk about that in executive session. We're not gonna talk
Okay.
about it here.
Okay, so,
Sorry.
We should go into executive.
Yes, well, that's what I was trying to get to, but is there anything else
I
that's
just, I didn't want to
the
write that.
public
Okay.
session that we need to talk about?
Okay.
Anything else in
I've
the
heard
public
that.
session we need to talk about?
No?
So, could we ask for Nate to come in one of our future meetings?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Um,
I'm sure he will.
I really like,
Even if he zooms in.
I'd really like it if it could be the first meeting in November. But if he can't make that, we would certainly be willing to do it the week of Thanksgiving, isn't it? I don't know.
No, the first time we're meeting is the 6th of November.
And then the 20th.
6:30.
Sounds great.
Oh, so you'll be at a party?
And then the 20th.
Okay. At this point, I think, hearing no more discussion, I would entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session and not to return to open session.
I make a motion to adjourn into executive session and not to return to open session. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, we probably should.
All right.
Why?
I motion to adjourn to enter into executive session and not to return to open session after executive session. And we're entering executive session under purpose 7 to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant aid requirements. Quote, applications for abatement or exemption under this chapter shall, except in proceedings before the county commissioners, the appellate tax board, or a court of the Commonwealth, be open only to the inspection of the assessors, the commissioner, the deputies, clerks, and assistants of either the assessors or the commissioner, and such other officials, or designated private auditors of the Commonwealth, which is Chapter 59, Section 60 of MGL, and that's the law being cited.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We can terminate the Zoom. Do I have to do that from here?
I can,
Heidi?